It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
We've got a question from Lewis. He says, I have a question related to the financial order of operation steps. Should you skip maxing out your 401k and instead fund your taxable brokerage account to save on paying ordinary income taxes? We got some fancy footwork happening here.
To save on ordinary income taxes through a after-tax account?
So should you skip maxing out 401k and instead fund your taxable brokerage account to save on paying ordinary income taxes?
Oh, he's talking about when you actually pull the money out.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it. Okay. Lewis, you got a lot of moving parts there. Here's the thing. I would, when you pull money out, I don't know how old Lewis is, but that's going to be in retirement. I mean, realistically, these are retirement accounts. The title is not a bait and switch. It really is, hopefully, if we use for retirement. And there is a goal that I tell people, especially if you're planning on leaving before 72, which is most people. Most people do retire before 72, and that's the required minimum distribution age, is that you're hoping that when in retirement, that time between the date you leave the workforce, before you reach age 72, that your income taxes actually, or at least your tax rate goes down, because you're in your peak earning years in your 40s and 50s, and you're paying the highest tax rates on that ordinary income. You're kind of hopeful that when you retire and you start living off this money, especially if you have the 3-bucket strategy, meaning you have after-tax, that's in step 7 of hyperaccumulation. You have your after-tax, you have your tax-deferred, and then you have your Roth accounts, which are growing tax-free, that you can kind of legally manipulate the tax code to lower and minimize it. Because if some years, if your income is really low from all sources, you pull it out of that tax-deferred account and just take advantage of the low tax rates that our tax code has. If you're maybe you had income coming in and you want to try to minimize, or you want to do some Roth conversions or something like that, where you turn tax deferred into tax free, you could live off of your after tax account to kind of create a bridge. So I don't mind if you're doing 25% of your savings and you've gone through steps 1 through 6, you can then graduate to step 7, which is hyperaccumulation. But if you're in a higher income situation and you have the opportunity to max out that retirement account, and you're not doing so, you can just get to maxing out just so you can avoid, because you're thinking about ordinary income tax in retirement. That seems a little out of place to me. It feels like you've created a worry about something that may or may not. Now, look, I think taxes very well go up in the long term because the government has a lot of responsibilities and obligations that they're going to have to pay for. But I also know, even when I have that certainty, I also know that politicians are really scared of older people because they vote en masse. So they typically create tax policy that favors people who fall into those strategies. I hate to be so cynical about this, but it's just the reality. And it's not even political. I think, nobody's going to get mad left or right when you say, look, older people do vote, and the tax policy typically reflects that. So I think that there is a good, even with tax rates going up, there's a good chance that retirees or people living off of their investments will have some really cool planning structures. So to miss out on that because you're worried about ordinary income tax rates seems a little premature.
Yeah.